Hi there. Back again, and with a bit of an impromptu episode here. I didn't actually plan to record today, but something happened during the night that I kind of want to talk about, and as a result, I don't really have anything planned for this episode, so I'm just going to be doing a little bit of housekeeping, setting some things up for later and that sort of thing. And it is going to be a talky episode, so if you don't like that sort of stuff, that's completely fine. You can leave. But I have some serious issues that I am going to talk about here, because this is things that needs to be said. So, yeah. Last night I was sitting on Twitter before bedtime, like lying in bed and checking Twitter, and a friend uploaded a comment, and it was about cats, I think. And I made a joke about the superiority complex of cats. Like cats thinking that they are better than everyone else, and therefore the humans should just obey them, that sort of thing. But somehow that turned into a gender discussion. Basically, he could not accept that a person who changes their gender, like from one gender to the other, would not go all the way. So that means that if you're going to change your gender, in his definition, you have to get hormone treatment, you have to get the operation, you have to basically turn yourself completely into the other gender. There's no in-betweens. Now, I told him that it's fine if you do not understand this sort of thing, but you have to accept that there is not just two genders. We have two genders in an administrative sense, so that we can actually simplify like laws and the environment around us. But in the general public, there is more. There's the two gender extremes, but almost every person in the entire world falls without or outside this ideal. So you have the two extremes, the gender extremes, and then you have infinite amounts of people that are in between. And well, technically not infinite, but there are as many gradients as there are people. But he refused to look at this argument and instead pointed to the dictionary, and then claiming that because the dictionary says so, it must be true. I call bullshit on that. See, what is the dictionary? The dictionary is a book that describes language as it is for us right now. It is basically a book that evolves over time, changes, and it is a mirror image of how things are at this particular moment. But as it is defined, it is always behind. It's always evolving, it's always changing. But before it can change, something has to become common use in the public. Either an opinion or a definition of a word. And then it is altered in the dictionary afterwards. Now, because of this, you can't use it as an argument in this sort of thing, because you're using old material. So you're taking this dictionary and say you can't use, or you can't argue according, or you, what is this? You're using the dictionary to say that because this says something, that has to be true, but this gender debate is very much a hot topic right this moment. It's not something that you can just pull out of your arse and start discussing in great detail. I think I'm going to put in a few more. So you have a topic that is still being discussed and still changing, but it is not yet at the point where the dictionary would have caught up. It might have in some countries. It hasn't done that in my country, in Denmark. But that doesn't make it not an issue, and that doesn't make it not true. That's not how the world works. So I told him that, but he's so stuck up his own arse because of a so-called artist, in quotation mark, who changed his gender legally in order to make performance art by going into the women's dressing room, even though he had done nothing other than change his legal gender, which technically he should be allowed to do. But this guy's just an asshole, and he's hurting everyone that would actually benefit from this sort of deal by doing stuff like that. So it's not someone we generally like. But because he doesn't like this person, he has decided that this is just wrong and no one should be able to do this. So that means that he uses this as an excuse to accuse me of attacking him when I'm pointing out that he is being very, very discriminatory by saying those things. While he, of course, is just pointing out the obvious facts. So I told him that by pulling this sort of argument, he's basically being the same as the Nazis, who were discriminating against the Jews and the gay people simply because their Führer would say so, or his book in some cases. Just to draw a little bit of a parallel, just need one of these. And what is it? Let's see. Yeah, so basically it would make his argument the same as the Nazis, make him act as one of them, pretty much. But likewise, he is like one of those religious fanatic rednecks. I'm not talking about rednecks in general, I'm talking about the religious fanatics that you see around America's mid-area. Of course, not everyone in this area is like that, but there are a good amount, and we can't deny that. So what they are doing is basically precisely the same thing. They're pointing to their Bible and saying, because my Bible says this, then it has to be so. That's not how the world works. Just because a book says something, a book that is written by people, that doesn't make it truth. That doesn't make it truth or right. So I'm telling him that. Basically, I'm trying to say to him that you should probably reconsider that, because you are being not only extremely rude, but you are going to piss people off, and you're going to make yourself look like a dick. Like, I'm just trying to watch out for him, really. Like, I generally know what he's trying to say, but if he goes up to someone who is very defensive about this sort of stuff, or doesn't identify as one particular gender but in the mixed area, he is going to get his ass kicked. So, let's talk about gender. What is gender? And we're not talking about what it says in the dictionary at the moment. We're talking about what is gender actually. Gender is two things. It is a mental gender and it is a physical gender. The physical gender could be understood as the assigned gender, depending on the context. The assigned gender being the gender that you have been given at birth, and what I mean by that we'll come back to in a moment. But it could also just signify what gender do your body mostly identify with at the moment. So, for instance, what genitals do you have? That sort of thing. And again, that is not necessarily defining of either gender, because you have these two genders which are not necessarily the same. You have the physical gender and the mental gender. And you can be male in body but female in mind, or the other way around. Or you can be a mix between the two. You can even change between them. I know a person who goes from one gender to the other day by day. And it's just a matter of their mentality. The fact is that about 1% of children, perhaps even more, this is just a number of the births that are recorded, and there's a lot of births that are not recorded, but 1% at least, oops, I was wrong, is actually children that are born of mixed gender. So they are a mix. But what do we do to them? We say, this doesn't feel right, so we are going to change them. We're going to cut them up and change them into, or to be able to fit into one of these two defined boxes that we like to look at things in. Just because that if we didn't do that, we'd have to think. We'd have to use our brain. Now, I call bullshit, because that is exactly the same thing as circumcision, which is banned in some countries because you're mutilating a child that cannot make a choice for themselves. But apparently, it's completely fine to forcefully reassign gender, even though the child is born naturally in some other way. So, what do we do about this? Well, first of all, that has to be changed, but that is still something that is being worked on, and it is getting closer. But in most countries this is still a very big thing, and I mean, in America you still see circumcision to this day, so it's probably something we're going to see for a very long time. But fact is, people are not born as one gender or the other. They are born as a mix in almost every case. And it is not your job, or the nurse's job, or the doctor's job to define what this child is. It is up to themselves, and if they can't answer that, which they can't when they're children, then let them, for God's sakes, grow up and make the decision themselves, instead of forcing some things on them that can't be changed. So, what I'm saying is, if you don't understand this sort of thing, then that is completely fine. I'm not trying to force you into understanding this issue. I'm saying, if you don't understand it, come and ask about it. Because me, as well as others, are glad to talk about it. We like to tell others about it because we know that it is a hard topic. I mean, it's a hard topic for even us to talk about, because it is so strange and so different from anything anyone else can experience, as well as being something that is generally just unrelatable to others. So the only thing that you should never do is try to force someone to be into these two boxes. I mean, you have the transsexuals who are very, very happy to share information about this stuff. So ask about them and don't go on the defensive, or what you want to call it. I'm very lucky myself that I identify as purely one gender, but I have not yet decided whether or not I want to get this operation in the end to basically mutilate my body. I mean, what I would get is only cosmetical anyway, so do I want to make that? I might, but I don't want to be forced into making that choice yet. But according to this friend of mine here, I have to do this or I am just wrong and he will dislike me. How is that right? So, I am saying that with all these in-betweens, you cannot discriminate against a subgroup of people. It is the same as has been done so many times during history. This is no different. It is different in the theme, yes, but basically you are doing exactly the same as so many other people that you personally do not like has been doing in the past. So please don't do that. I'm fairly certain if you're going to do that, then I don't want to be your friend anymore. So I'm actually considering cutting the ties to this person because of this. I don't want to, because I don't want to just toss away a friendship. But if you're going to act like that and treat others like that, then I don't want to know of you. And I mean that. So, I really urge you to be curious, ask questions, that sort of thing. But don't expect someone who you are discriminating against, let's say it as it is, to just roll over and take it without arguing, without defending themselves. And most of all, do not take this as them attacking you. This is not them attacking you. This is them defending who they are. Defending their right to be themselves against someone who is trying to force them into being something specific. Like in this case, I am trying to tell him that what you're doing is very, very discriminating against me and against a lot of other people, and you should probably think about not doing that, or at least consider it before you do it, and the ramification of doing so. And instead he takes it as an attack against him because of some other person that he does not like, and uses it as making it right for him to do as he does. Well, I can tell you one thing: discriminating against others is never okay. Sometimes you might do it, either on purpose or accidentally. But I can tell you this: if you do it and you don't redo it, then you are exactly as bad as so many other people that has been doing it in the past. So, yeah. Yeah. I was lying around talking on Twitter about this stuff for hours, until I finally fell asleep with the phone next to me, woke up, continued discussing, and woke up this morning and just... I had to talk about this because this is something that you need to consider. I am not saying that you have to understand this. I'm saying that you should think. Think before you speak. Think about what you're saying. That goes for everything, not just this. It goes for everything you do. You have to think before you act. Because if you do not, then you're going to get yourself in trouble. and you're going to hurt people, you're going to hurt yourself. Now I'm going to give my friend here another chance. But depending on how he acts, I might just decide that, no, I'm not going to take this. I don't want to be your friend anymore because you are acting this way. Now I hope it won't come to that, but there's plenty other fish in the water, and even though I don't have a lot of friends, and here I'm talking about real life friends, I do have probably more online friends than I have real life friends, even though it's not a lot, I do not have so few that I cannot afford to throw away someone who is aggressive against me in such a way, or aggressive against others. Like, in a lot of sense, I can take abuse against myself very well. But if you abuse others, then I get very, very pissed. So, I hope that by talking about this sort of stuff, that I can make some of the ones who listen think one more time about different things before you act, and hopefully help both you act better and help everyone, both you and others, improve as human beings. It is only because we are thinking and because we are acting that we are who we are. And if you are acting like an asshole, then that is all you will be ever. That's all I wanted to say. It's just something that I had to get off my chest. So, thank you for watching. I hope that you at least understood what I was trying to say. And if something is unclear, do ask. I'm very happy to talk about this sort of stuff. I'm very happy to explain. As is everyone else in the same situation. Because we know that it is something that is difficult to grasp. So go ahead and ask. For now though, I just want to say thank you for watching. And I'll see you again next time, hopefully with something a little lighter. Goodbye now, and remember, treat others nicely and be kind and understanding. Don't force other people into doing anything. Let them be themselves and try to understand. Thank you for watching, and bye bye now.